Hello everybody and welcome to the Elite Dangerous live stream. This is the very first, it's not very first, but you know, it's one of the first Q&A live streams that we're doing. Kind of a new series of Q&As going into details about specific things, specific hot topics that you guys bring to the table through the forums and social media and stuff like that. But today, I thought for the very first one of this little series, I thought we would bring on a very special guest, and I thought I'd put them next to each other because I feel like this stream is going to be a bit more about you two having a conversation about stuff. And I felt weird sitting in the middle of you. Just, I'm sorry, I think I'm just going to drape across the front. It
seems completely natural to me.
It's Sandro Sammarco. We have, of course, lead designer on Elite Dangerous, Sammarco, and lead gameplay programmer Mark Allen as well, which of course is A-L-L-E-N.
I thought you were referring to Sandro and the Loach having a conversation.
Yeah, we've got a sort of double denim cowboy nearly today. Nearly.
I'm still the beige cowboy.
Still the beige cowboy at heart.
Yeah.
Good stuff. So hope everybody is all right. It's good to see everybody. Thank you very much for coming along. We've on the forums on Friday, I think it was, we put up a thread saying do ask lots of questions about three specific topics, and that was about changes towards engineers, changes towards combat and mechanics and flight mechanics type things, and a little bit to do with power play as well, right?
Yes.
What are you looking at me like that? Like
no, I'm just saying. So, for the record, what we actually got was a bunch of questions on engineers,
everything.
A couple of questions on power play, and a stack of unrelated stuff. Which I will try and go through what I can.
Yeah.
But just like a heads up, is like we can't talk about many things.
Well, it's funny because
as openly as we'd like to sometimes.
Yeah. Well, actually, we've got something very. Yeah, okay, what's the thing you usually say? No promises,
no promises, no ETA, no guarantees, no ETA. That's my middle name.
So do keep that in mind when we talk about this sort of stuff. We just want to make sure we're still keeping communications with you open as possible and inviting you to come and speak with us regularly. So before we begin though, there's a particular reason why we asked for specific questions about that, and it's quite exciting. And actually we've got a little bit of news as well. So can I mean, I might fluff this a little bit, but can I try and tell you what's happening?
Go for it.
So actually, well, isn't this the exciting piece of news that I'm now thinking about how to say, but I should have thought about it before I started speaking. But there's an Elite Dangerous update coming, 2.23.
Probably, yes.
2.2.
I think the name is a little bit suspect.
And it is coming in the new year, right?
Yes, we're expecting it to go live in the new year.
Going live in the new year, and that's going to include changes to, surprise, surprise, engineers, combat mechanics, and a little bit of love to power play as well, right?
Yeah.
But the real exciting news is that you guys can get hands-on with those changes tomorrow, because we're actually having the first ever point update for a beta for a point update. The first ever beta for a point update starts tomorrow. Yep. So anybody with beta access will be able to get their hands on these changes right now and help us out make those. Make Elite Dangerous the best game it possibly can be. And that's why we're kind of doing the stream, is to talk through what that is, explain why we're doing it, explain when we're doing it, explain how we're doing it, and keeping these people in the loop. And that's why I wanted you to come on, you smart lead people. So why are we doing this? Why are we doing a 2.2 beta, a 2.203 beta?
So it originated as a continuation of the feedback and balance changes we did during 2.2, and that went down really well. It gave us some really useful feedback, but we didn't have time to respond to all of it. So this build is a lot of continuing from where we left off.
Yeah, very important question straight away. 2.203, not 2.23, right? Okay, there's no 3. Well, the 3 is after an O after a point. It's very important.
Okay.
It's not 2.3.
It's not 2.3. That's the point.
It's the next one. It's coming tomorrow. The beta.
The beta's coming tomorrow.
Boom.
So we're doing that because, well, like you say, it was 2.2 and the feedback that we got and how successful the betas were and things like that worked so well. We're like, let's continue that activity.
There was a lot we didn't get a chance to act on that we can now. We've taken a bit more time and we can do better.
Yeah, and that's what we're talking about. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Very exciting.
Cool. Why are you looking so suspicious at me?
No, actually, I think Mark's probably a little bit saying we're full of a cold. Yeah, so apologies.
Yeah.
It's really, I'm a little bit bunged up, so hopefully you'll still be able to understand me.
And that is anybody who already had access to beta in the past, so already had access to betas will be able to play it as well. And actually, I'm going to be giving away access to the beta in today's stream as well at the end. So I'm going to go into 2 of those at the end as well, just in case you haven't already got it. I'm going to give it a little treat. So do stick around if you, in case. So it's going to be information heavy, questions heavy for the next sort of 50 minutes to an hour. And I'm going to play Elite Dangerous while you guys talk.
That sounds like
Is that okay? So please put your love and your rounds of applause and hands and claps and smiley faces in the chat for Sandy and Mark, who are here, even though they're ill and in their own time. So please do give them the thumbs up and thank you for watching. And so, what should we kick things off with then? So we talk about some of the changes coming to engineers, because there's been those threads open for about a month.
It's about 2 weeks now.
2 weeks.
While, yeah.
And so there's been lots of feedback and lots of questions, and we're kind of going to cover some of that and try and almost wrap it all up. And by the end of it, you should know what's going on and why it's going on,
or at least be differently confused.
Yeah. I certainly will be. So, Mark, what do you want to kick things off with? Some questions, or
so
how do you want to do this?
One of the big things that we've discussed and that Sandy's posted as a thread on the forum was the engineer crafting commodities discussion. And there's been a lot of discussion, several different options we've proposed. I think we're ready to announce what we're going to do with that.
Yeah, I reckon we are.
So we're basically just going to be removing the commodities from all blueprints. It's the best way we can avoid leaving any odd cases behind.
The cleanest way, yeah.
It leaves the fewest problems left behind. The commodities themselves will stay in the game. They will for now be high value mission rewards. They will be potentially linked to community goals, that kind of thing. Yeah. But you won't need to ferry them everywhere to craft your items or engineers. We expect that to go live by the time this beta's finished. We don't know exactly when it's going to happen on the main game yet.
So there it is.
Oh, that's big news.
I think it's an important question that we're glad to have come to a conclusion. Thank you to everyone who replied in the thread. There's a lot of really good feedback in there, a lot of really good different viewpoints and opinions, so that helps the feedback. I keep saying it, I don't know if people believe me, but it really does help, it really does make a difference.
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
Yeah.
We just feel it's the cleanest method and it's the right thing to do at this time. You know, we know that cargo storage of any sort isn't coming anytime soon, so it's not fair to keep forcing people to carry around commodities.
That is
basically,
because I remember when we talked about it so often on the stream, those were the things that would keep going up again and again and again. So I think that's a fair, an interesting and positive move.
And just to respond, sorry, I missed whose name it was. Ideally, we would use commodity storage and we would have a different structure around it, but it came down to scheduling reasons. Yeah. We couldn't do that in time. We didn't want to leave it in its current state for long enough to do commodity storage. That will probably, we want it to still come in the future. Yeah.
Storage of some sort is useful, not even just for craft commodities, not necessarily for normal commodities, but storage of things is something that we're quite interested in.
You might want to store universe unknown artifacts.
That's right, exactly, yeah.
So just quickly, just going to jump in, there's going to be time as well for you guys directly in the chat to answer questions. I just want to make sure that we service the forums and make sure we touch on as much as we possibly can in the forums, because we asked for questions.
Touch it all, yeah.
We're going to touch everything.
That's right. No, everything.
We're going to do our best, but between me and Sandy, we've got about 13 or 14 pages.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye on the time. I am literally, by the way, just so everyone knows, I'm playing my own account.
Wow.
I just thought I'd use this time to play some Elite. And I'm trying to jump back to the bubble currently to get involved in the CG that's happening for the Colonial Initiative. So that's why I'm doing that. So please, I just thought I would use it as like a backdrop to the discussion.
We're in your cockpit.
And we're in the cockpit as well.
Does that make us bobbleheads?
We'll do this. Just bobble our heads a little bit, then it'll be fine. So there will be time for questions from the chat, and I'm just going to keep an eye on the clock and make sure that we're pushing things fast, which we're not doing right now. So next point, please.
Yeah,
Mark.
go for it, Mark.
This is from GW42 on the forums.
Thank you.
Are there any plans for more interesting blueprint variety? Many of the recently added ones are shielded, lightweight, reinforced, etc. Yes, I can't make promises as to when things are going to show up. The likely next family of upgrades is going to be for sensors, the trio of utility hardpoint scanners and planet scanners, which will most likely be affecting their range, angle and speed, plus the existing power and mass. Past that, mining, but I don't know when. Yeah. I would like to get the sensors in for 2.3, but it's...
Okay, interesting.
It's not set in stone. Yeah. As I want to say, no ETAs, no guarantees, but that's next on the line.
Good. Yeah. Excellent. And do let us know. Yeah, fantastic to hear. So people seem excited by that. There you go. Good. It's been a good
Plus.
start so far. Well done. All right, Mark. Are you still?
Yeah, just get in there.
Got the big ticks going on.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just crossing off as I answer the questions. This, again, from the forums, Earth Ultimatum 4, or IV. Will we ever see an engineer modification that compromises fire rate for a massive increase in damage per shot, kind of like rapid fire but reversed? I like the idea. There are some balance issues. It increases ambush damage and burst damage, but that's all manageable. I would say that we've got a lot of combat mods, and we'd like to spend some time expanding our other repertoire before we come back to this, but made a note of it for the future.
Yeah, absolutely. It's solid. Just there are the combat's already had a lot of love. It's getting a lot of love, so.
Yeah.
Well,
Every time there's a pause, just jump in there.
Yeah, he'll tell you when to stop.
Yeah.
Okay.
He'll tell you when to stop. I'll
You
just
tell me.
I'm just playing the game.
Continuing from
See you.
continuing from the forums, Methane or Methane, I'm sorry, I'm not sure how to pronounce that.
Methane. It's got to be methane, hasn't it? Sure.
What's the plan with the focused laser upgrades? We've changed them from long range to something quite different. Yes, that's partially us not explaining the original intent very well. It was meant to be an armor-piercing recipe. It had long range as well. Our mistake on that one, I think.
Yeah. So it happens.
If the stream is stuttering for you, I'm really sorry about that. Hopefully it will clear up itself, and if it doesn't, like I say, press the F5 button and I can restart things in just a little bit if it still continues to be a problem.
What I would like to say specifically is there's a specific help topic open with customer support for people who had focused, who now want long range, so we can gauge how big a problem it is, how many people are affected by it. There's a link on the forums. It's in the engineer updates thread at the moment, and we'll make it in the beta forum as well. Please do report if you've got issues with that. We
That's the whole
If you
point,
don't
right?
tell us, we can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
and just for
Scott
Corey,
Manley's in the chat, by the way. Just want to say
Hello.
hello to Scott Manley.
Scott Manley, I can't help us.
Scott,
I just love saying your name, Scott Manley.
It's got to be in a slightly Scottish.
With my terrible Scottish accent, I'm not going to repeat here.
and for a corollary to that, we're not expecting any repurposings of recipes in the same way. I think we've done that now.
Fantastic. Apparently it's a YouTube glitch and just refresh. Just from checking that it's still working. People are seeing it. Keep on coming on.
Keep
on
space
keeping
trucking.
on.
This one from Fruitbat, and actually several others, but he was the first one I noticed. When will exquisite focus for crystals return to the game? That is a bug. They have been missing, I believe, since 2.2.
Wow.
I did some chasing up with the programmer on that one earlier today. We think we know what the problem is. There's a fix in. It still needs to go through QA and appropriately be tested. All being well, it will be fixed during this beta.
Excellent. Good.
They will return as mission rewards.
It's good.
Keep on keeping on.
Yeah.
Engineered. Sorry, this one again
I
from
feel bad. Like, just let me know if you need a break, and we'll.
You'll find out when I
disappear
disappear off here and start coughing.
But honestly, these guys are usually incredibly enthusiastic and upbeat. It's sometimes space.
Are you
calls.
saying I'm not upbeat
I mean,
tonight?
I'll be honest with you.
Face.
I'm regretting not wearing a face mask to protect from the germs that are definitely coming my way right now.
I've turned like a red face as well. It's really
You look
horrific.
great. You've got the space sledge with you. You've got the cowboy hat on. More like it.
When are we putting 3 huge hard punts on the Type 9? Nice try. I like the idea.
The Iron Cow.
Yeah.
It feels a little like a stoic live stream of us, like very. It is going to be a bit of hardcore information here today. So
Yeah, it's a lot of information
I hope
dumping.
that's
It
okay
is, yeah.
for a lot for a lot of you. I think will enjoy that anyway. But if you did miss it, we've got a beta coming tomorrow, 2.203, which is the first time we've done a point update beta. Because we want to carry on how successful 2.2 was in terms of community reception and stuff.
Yeah.
And in case it wasn't already clear, we've said this is going live in the new year. Obviously over Christmas, we're going to be off doing Christmassy things and not doing a huge amount of interaction with the game. But the beta will be running over Christmas.
Yeah.
How dare you?
Who'd have thought it?
So
Dare you?
you'll have plenty of time to experiment with these changes and
Yeah.
get feedback in.
Okay, check my stream client. It seems to be fine on my end. Just give me one moment. I'm just going to stop. I'm going to pull over in the space lay-by, and I'm just going to restart the stream for a real.
We're certainly showing no drop frames this end.
Yeah, it appears to be on that end.
Shinori Rail, just that we've missed out a load of questions.
All right,
We're not doing them in order of the thread.
Yeah.
One moment. And we will be back in just a second in case you are, and this is running smoothly for you. I am just going to quickly mute, restart the stream up again. So back in a sec. Okay, and we are back here. Hello. Sorry about that. A little bit of a blip. I'm blaming YouTube. That's what I like to do.
That works.
I like to blame everybody, but
Definitely wasn't Trumbull's.
Definitely wasn't the Trumballs. Anyway, so yeah, I went in and did some things behind the scenes, and hopefully that means that we'll be able to stream a bit more smoothly. Fingers crossed. Anyway, I'm going to carry on playing the game. Yeah, and you should carry on answering
Back where we
questions.
left off.
Yeah.
From the forums, Grifferim. Engineered special effects for weapons are pretty cool. Are you planning on adding more special effects for other system types? Yes. Usual caveat to I can't make promises when, but we do have short lists of what we want to add specifically for drives, shields, and I think hyperdrives.
Yeah, something like that. Definitely shields and drives.
Yeah. At the moment, it's been paused for a while. There's high priority things that we need to deal with. Definitely not gone.
Excellent. Good news.
Mm-hmm.
Are you ready to keep on going, or are you?
I can keep going. Eventually, I'll get to the end of this stuff, and Sandy will have to do it.
Okay.
yeah, that's
that
fine.
Might be the way to do it.
It's good.
So, Sandy, do you have anything to say about this so far? About anything that we've said?
No. It's actually really nice having someone intelligible to actually come on and say this stuff so it gets understood. So
yeah, good stuff.
I'm liking it.
Well, Mark,
I like being in the middle.
From Reddit, this is GB Lurkin 41. Currently, a single engineer has grade 5 for. Sorry, misread that. A single engineer offers the maximum grade for each type of module. Is the plan for a single engineer to always have the top level one, or are we going to let you have, for example, several grade 5 pulse laser engineers? There's no particular reason to keep it that way. I believe that's how it is.
That's just how it is at the moment.
Things are never going to be the same.
Yeah,
This is how it is.
Engineers will likely have overlapping recipes.
Changes.
Stuff.
Yeah, there's no stoppers. I don't think doing that.
There's certainly no technical reason
Yes.
Mhm.
So it might happen.
Wonderful. Excellent.
for it. From Shintai on the forums, with the blueprint change for light weapons, unless you fly a tiny ship, efficiency is now always much better. Well, it depends what you want. If you want a lightweight weapon, then lightweight is, I think, the only recipe that reduces the weight of it. But I will admit, wanting a lightweight weapon is a fairly niche thing. I'm not averse to buffing it in some other ways, and you've made a suggestion about increasing the tracking speed of turrets that are lightweight or something like that, which I like the idea of.
Yeah.
We need to discuss it. I've only seen that this morning.
Yeah. But it's pleasing to the ear. So,
that's one way of putting it.
Yeah.
Well, once you've made your way through those questions as well, I think I'm going to ask you a couple of guys. You couple of guys.
You guys.
A couple of guys.
You guys.
It was I'm going to just basically ask you to sort of kind of summarise the immediate changes that are going in and what you want people to look for within each section, if that's okay. But carry on with these questions first, and then because I think I would just love to know a big sort of high overview of everything, if that's possible.
Yeah, we can.
So then I can also know that, because I don't know that.
Intro, I really like it. We can go into that. Yeah.
Great. Keep going.
Again from Reddit, Lazarus KI. We've mentioned some more missile love. Is there a chance to get penetrating munitions for Seeker missiles? There's no reason not to. We'll look into it.
Maybe. Maybe not.
Similarly, is there an option for engineers to increase or reduce the gimbal angle for some trade-off? Again, I don't see a problem with allowing it particularly.
Maybe.
For appropriate trade-offs, again, we need time to balance these things.
Yes.
New recipes like that aren't going to be coming in an interim build. We do need time to do them properly.
Yes.
Okay.
From Reddit again, Monsieur WTF, Mr. WTF, however you prefer that. Focus comes with armor piercing, and we're saying we're giving it more chance to breach the hull. I just want to clarify what that means, because there's some confusion. So armor piercing, or you might sometimes see it referred to as hardness piercing, it represents a weapon's ability to not have its damage reduced hitting really tough targets. Like a small laser hitting Anaconda, it does reduce damage.
Yeah.
Breach the hull, or anything talking about breach chance, is the chance to punch through the hull and damage internal modules. So Focus now gets an improvement to both of those. It will both do better against large targets and do better at breaking internal things.
Interesting.
And finally, or at least on this particular subtopic, from us is a sort of waving a big flag. We're not trying to force people to recraft modules.
Yeah.
It's been a common comment that we're trying to force people to do a lot of rework. We're not. I want to very specifically call out, if there are modules that you want to replace, if there's things that you think have been made obsolete, do let us know, and especially be specific. Tell us what you're replacing with what and why. I'd like to call out a specific comment from BioFlame. he's raised some concerns about plasma accelerators with focused that he was using because they had long range, which increases projectile velocity, and specifically that projectile velocity change isn't directly related to long range, but understanding why he's making that choice is really important. More of that, please. Good work.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. So, is that sort of that's what you've pulled from the forums a little bit there, or?
That's the first half. I've got another 4 pages or so.
Good. And you've got about 15 pages as well.
I've got. I think maybe I should just run through a.
Do you want to run through a few questions?
Yeah.
Will they be engineers related?
No.
All right. Well, can I ask you guys to sort of summarise for me a little bit about what's coming tomorrow, and what you're looking out for people to look for specifically in terms of feedback to make sure we can get this the best possible.
So in terms of what's happening during the beta, in the first day, it's going to be a beta with a reasonably recent save snapshot. I think it's from some point last week.
Okay.
The primary thing we need you guys to have a look at is load in with your existing ships, make sure everything's converted over correctly, make sure the saves are updated and all that's good. You will have, I believe it's Marco Gwent.
It's Marco Gwent, yeah.
Yep, he will have access to all recipes, all blueprints, at all levels. He has a market that sells fish.
He loves his fish.
All blueprints cost 1 fish to craft. He will also have outfitting that stocks every module at mass reduced price.
I think a shipyard with all ships, I believe.
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, at reduced cost again.
Which you go wild and start experimenting as soon as you can. From day 2 onwards, we're bringing in a separate thing where resetting your save will stick you in his base with fish and 1 billion credits.
Nice!
So if you want to test things, you can get to it pretty easily. We're trying to get rid of as many barriers as we can.
Exactly, yeah. We just want to see how these things work out.
And it's to see how the changes basically.
Yep. Yeah. So we need to make sure that the upgrade process works. Yeah. Beyond that, the primary goal of these changes is so that you can so that we're not forcing you to use one optimal path. You have a lot of choices in terms of how you can outfit your ship. We would like to see people using more than just overcharge and rapid fire for damage. We'd like to see short range coming up. We'd like to see efficient weapons. We'd like to see plasma accelerators.
I love his plasma accelerators.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Basically, we want to see a lot of experimentation. We want to find out what works, what doesn't.
And
be vocal.
Where is it specifically that you're looking as well for people in case they don't usually regularly? And how important is it that you get this stuff written in the forums and people talking?
Getting the feedback
for you guys,
it's really
important.
Yeah.
And as I said before,
some people might think that you might not actually read it, but you're in the
I can't promise we read everything on the forums everywhere, but on the beta forums, we're going to be in there daily.
Yeah.
And especially not just what you think, but understanding why you think it and for what reasons you're making these choices is really, really useful information for us.
I believe also, did Dav say that we were removing the rank requirements for...
We're either removing the rank requirement or we're making it really, really fast.
So I think you should, not just for the engineer modules, but for ships hidden behind naval rank.
I would have to go and check with Dav.
Yeah,
maybe.
we'll look into that. I've got a vague memory of Dav or someone saying that you will have access to all of the ships. I don't know that for sure, but that might be the case. But we'll check on that.
We can look at it later in beta if it doesn't come in day
that's
one.
True.
Okay, so why don't people ask questions related to the engineer stuff that you've just heard Mark talk about in the chat here. But while we're waiting for those questions to come in, make sure you grab one and think, oh, that one, how's that one? While we're doing that one, you do want some viewers, which are kind of semi-unrelated, that the forum questions have been coming through based around the topic, but maybe not.
So not really.
Thanks
a lot of these questions, but it's cool. We love the questions anyway. Yeah. So again, apologies for my subdued demeanour. It's just a giant head cold, that's all.
Literally dying on the
screen. And also the malevolent spirits. And someone actually posted the ghosts earlier, and that was wicked.
Yeah, put your ghosts in the chat, please.
Yeah, the ghosts are awesome.
If you want to give Sonny some support for Tom, put the ghosts in the chat as well.
So I'm just going to go through a bunch of questions that people have been asking in general. So the first one's from Robert Maynard. He's saying, has the pin been pulled on the hand grenade I posted in a collusion piracy thread? So just for context, I was musing out loud about potentially open play, power play, having some benefit to success over and above private groups and solo. So I just want to reiterate, that was just me musing. We're not going to do that at the moment. There are no plans to do it, but it's still an interesting thought. And nothing's ever completely off the table, but nothing to announce at the moment. So Viero, I never know if I'm saying that right either.
We've known him for the entire 3 years that we've been...
And I still never get it right, I do apologise.
I'm the same.
Is a much harsher type of security response, time and firepower, being considered for PvP in high security systems with gradual softening until anarchy? So firstly, that already happens. And it's quite significant, actually. At the top end security, you do get anacondas. You actually get wings of anacondas coming after you. Down to anarchy, where you get basically nothing. And 2 is the chance that a straight penalty might be considered for combat logging in PvP. Not in PvE, even if it's a penalty that allows for some gradual increase to cater for honest disconnects. So what you're really talking about there is what we've talked about internally for quite a while, called something we call a karma system, which would be effectively a system that tracks trends. As I think it's been stated many times before, due to the nature of the way the game network works, we can't always say for sure what's going on when people disconnect. And more importantly, we can't actually take control of a player's ship if they disconnect. It's not like a standard client-server farm where the server is the final arbiter and they go, okay, you've disconnected, I'll keep control of your ship. We just can't do that. However, a system where we track the trend, so if you log whilst you're in danger, fair enough, we make a note. If you're doing it repeatedly over a set amount of time, it starts to become suspicious, and if you keep doing it, we could start to enforce penalties. That's a concept that's been knocking around for a while. There's no ETA, no guarantees. We really like it internally. It's more a case of finding out when we can get the time to do it, because we do think it is a very cool thing, potentially a very cool thing for not just combat logging, but also antisocial behaviour that we think is undesirable. I.e., we like PvP, we like players attacking each other. What we're not too keen on is when a Warconda comes along and kills a Newbinder without any reason for it. If the Newbinder attacks, all bets are off. If the Newbinder is a criminal, all bets are off. You know, we don't want to be hand-holdy where we don't have to be, but we don't see any real benefit to someone coming along and just grinding a start system without recourse, and that's something that we can look at relative strengths, relative combat rank differences, and we can apply the same system, again, tracking trends over time. So I want to say that we're going to do it. I can't promise that, but it is something that comes up a lot. Yeah. We do take that very seriously, the various really cool discussions that we've seen on the forums and Reddit and other places like that.
It's probably a daily discussion that I wander over to your desk and talk about some aspect of karma or crime and punishment.
Absolutely,
interlinked.
And on that note, and there are a few questions that come up later on that ask about crime. It's not just the karma system. There are some other things which we are considering. Again, they're not in the schedule at the moment, but Pilot Federation bounties that are basically would be applicable everywhere that isn't an anarchy. Interstellar bounties, if we're hoping at some point maybe we can get those to return. Adding the cost of your rebuy cost of the ship that you commit a crime into the eventual fine that you have to pay when the bounty's cleared. Yeah. There's a lot of cool things that we could maybe do. I just can't tell you when we're going to do them, but we take it seriously.
It's also worth pointing out.
Or if, absolutely. No promises, no guarantees.
And potentially we can connect it to some pretty severe penalties.
Yeah.
We've certainly talked about at higher levels of karma or being an unfriendly player problems. You might, for example, be refused docking at everything but anarchy stations.
Exactly.
Attacked on site by all ships. Things like that.
Andrea Ventruni says, speak more slowly. And unfortunately, we can only speak as sort of the natural speed that we speak.
We're also trying to get through quite a lot, unfortunately.
And we're trying to get through a lot. Hopefully, somebody will put a summary on Reddit or something that you can read. I'm really sorry that we can't speak your language.
From previous experience, I will start talking more slowly and then slowly speed up again.
Yeah. From the very, I will try my best, but I know by the end of the sentence I'll be speaking as fast as I usually.
Absolutely. And Shad Dragon also says, he says, can you give us a rough ETA in 2.3? No. And how much work do you foresee in the crime and punishment system? Would you consider it minor or major effort? It's definitely a major effort. There's nothing. It's non-trivial, but we think it's very important. So that's why we're constantly talking about it. Okay. Pilchenstein, that's a great name. With regards to engineer commodity storage, okay, so you were asking about commodity storage, so Mark's already answered that in that we're going to, at the moment, just straight up kill crafting commodities. In the future, if we do get commodity storage, then we can look at how we if and when we introduce storage. So, but for now, for the foreseeable future, it won't be an issue by the end of this beta. Rubber Nuke, I love that name as well. When will collapse come into power play? When we're happy with the core rules. So until we're happy with the core rules, we don't want to kill any power. When will we see more power play development, or will we see more power play development? I really hope so. But as I've said before, power play is one of the more niche elements of the game. It's a subset of players, so it's always going to struggle a little bit to get time compared to changes that affect everyone. But I'd like to see some more development. We've got and I might talk a little bit about that later, there are a couple of cool ideas we've got there.
Excellent.
How many grenades can I pull? As few as possible would be my answer. I think putting grenades is a dangerous thing. I don't recommend it.
Manuel Armisto says, fix the game. I think we'll find what we're trying to do right now is talking about how we're going to improve the game.
Yes.
When it's already awesome. We're going to make it even better.
And someone, who is this? Is this still Rubber Nuke? Says, once current power play changes are in, what's next? Okay, well, I might as well quickly say it. So if we get more time, and again, no ETAs, no guarantees, there are a couple of areas that we'd like to focus on. One will be turning merits into an accruing resource rather than a rolling resource that decays. This would allow casual players to actually work towards getting rewards without having to do lots of activities each week. We've also got some interesting concepts about... Now, what was the other one? There was a really quite interesting one. So, assuming we can lock down sabotage and fifth columning and reduce that to some amount, looking at getting rid of systems. Everyone's been talking about it in power play. We understand it's very important. So that will be high on the list. And the final one would be, assuming we got those sorted out, to stop power play being static and also to give a more direct response. We've mused about some slightly more radical changes, such as removing overheads, which are they're important at the moment, but they're quite complicated. They add quite a lot of complication. Potentially, we would be considering getting rid of those. For example, allowing a much greater expansion, but at the same time allowing systems in turmoil to be got rid of. Without there being any cap. So at the moment you can fortify something that's undermined and it cancels out the undermining. A system in turmoil, if the undermining at the end of the cycle was higher than the fortify, it would go regardless. So there are a couple of, they're way into the future. I'm not saying where we're going to get them, but they're the kind of things that we'll be looking at. So a few more questions. Are we going to lower the cost of power play commodities? No, we're not at the moment. Well, let's see how the current changes affect before we make any more. Would we? And so you say that it's one of the barriers to non-power play players often cite about not taking power. I'd kind of disagree with that a little bit. I think that the main things I see are the rolling merit system and a lack of variety in power play actions as being the main issues. Could be wrong. Feel free to get on the forums and tell me how wrong I am. But that's where I see it at the moment, and also fifth columning. Sabujo says, we're going to get larger material and data storage soon because we got a 3 times buff, but now we've had more materials added, and it's too much micromanagement to get rid of the stuff at the moment. Yeah, it's not unfeasible. We might do. We'll see how things turn out with getting rid of commodities first, and then we'll look at material storage.
So a big welcome to Delboy Gaming, who he's just got the game a few weeks ago.
Oh yeah, hello,
and he has to say thank you, he loves it. It's a beautiful, amazing world, universe, and the community have been nothing but kind. That's what I love about this game.
Thank you very much.
People are always super welcoming.
We love that.
And it's really lovely when new players come into the streams and stuff and come and watch. So thank you, and stick around. So
Mossfoot says the kill batter upgrades recently introduced are much appreciated. He's basically saying it's still lacking internals, especially as we're introducing new internal modules as part of combat balance. It's a really interesting point I want to pick up. Mark was just talking to me earlier about this. Yes, we do understand the concept of module creep, and it comes up in a couple of times. Yeah. It is a bit of an issue. One of the things that has been suggested, and I don't know, you were talking to me about it, I don't know where it came from.
I can't remember if it was one of the suggestions here or riffing between them. Or
it was the concept of something we already do with passenger ships, where we have specialised module slots that can only accept certain types of modules. We might think about doing the same thing for other ships. For example, we could quite easily imagine a combat ship having military slots that can accept only military hardware. This would allow us to add some slots to combat ships without destabilising multi-purpose ships or training ships, which, if they had extra slots, would become demonic. So
especially with things like the trio of Federal dropship, gunship and assault ship, giving those more than their fair share of armour-only module slots, so they can become really durable combat ships.
Absolutely. So I think that's with me, it's got a lot of traction at the moment. I really like that idea. I don't know when we'll get round to it, but
the hearts and the yes.
But I think that's good. So Winterwalker, is it possible to transfer a ship out of a system, waive a bounty or fines to pay? Yes, it is. Are there any plans to expand the law and order system along those lines? Not initially. I can understand the reasoning and the logic behind it. It's not something that we're too worried about at the moment. Maybe we'll come back to it in the future. Are there plans for progressing development of points of interest discovery scanning, particularly when it comes to natural features? Any ideas on specialist scanners that register any certain features? Nothing to announce at the moment on that. I think that's not a bad idea,
so
but
many more
nothing
pages,
at the moment.
and we're already 40 minutes in.
So Phoenix Fire says...
He said a lot.
Yeah, he did.
He's
I've
just
quickly
10 questions.
he cheated. Phoenix Fire, Phoenix D
bullet
Fire.
points, been asking for bullet points.
Wasn't there some point talk about trading materials with other players? It's something that we might consider once we've got everything else locked down and under control, but not at the moment. Are there plans for more interactions with regards to the non-landable planetary outposts, i.e. trading cargo via the SRV, linking to the comms relay to see mission boards? It's something that we've discussed, and I mean, have you been reading our design documents? There has been talk of that, but nothing to announce, and we're not sure where to go with that. So, at the moment, no. But you never know in the future. It's definitely not. It's not a bad idea. Any plans to be able to select hub space, entry point to the closest star, or micro jump inside a system? This is a really contentious one.
Oh, so contentious.
I kind of like the idea of it, but I can see pros and cons. So at the moment, whilst there are many more higher priority issues, we're not going to look at it. If we get once we have more time, then maybe we could look at it. But there's pros and cons.
There's some resistance
50p
internally as well.
Pay 50p to jump to the next.
You heard it here first, folks. Ed's new lead of design.
Absolutely. I've now had a design, and it's now going to be you've got to pay together.
There's a reason we have designers and not designers.
Would it be possible to
joking.
select a star to jump through the ship targeting reticle? It would be, but it would require a reasonable amount of work, probably some sort of modal GUI change. We don't want to get it in the way of everything, so it's not something that we're going to look at right now. It's not a bad idea, but
I will say it's been on my personal wish list for about 2.5 years.
Exactly. It's not a bad idea, but it's at the moment no. Are we enjoying flying the Panther Clipper? You folks in your Panther Clipper. There's no Panther Clipper at the moment, okay? But I don't know what else to say.
They talk about that a lot.
Yeah. Can we trade space lurches as rare items, or should there be more like Trumbles? Well, actually, space lurch used to be a unique item, but I have actually seen a different one in the wild now. So I'm not sure.
Yeah. Did you see that? Was it
I can't remember who it was, but there was a pink version.
Yeah.
Impressive.
Oh, hold on. I think
will turrets be affected by ship sensors performance? They're not at the moment, are they? No. Again, we'll get through the other balance changes, and then maybe in the future we could look at it if we need to. Can you give us a bit more time so when we start live radio, we have some time to respond? No, sorry, we don't have enough time. I do really apologise, but we can't. And then you ask about the combat logging, griefing, that kind of issue. Well, I think hopefully I've made that reasonably clear what our thoughts are in terms of the potential things we might be able to do if we get time. No ETAs, no guarantees. Gonna Hofowen. I always get it wrong.
Hofowen.
Maybe.
Hofowen.
I think so.
Hofowen. Hofowen. Oh, I don't know.
Okay, so no, you're asking about the crime and punishment. Sorry, I've already done you as well then.
Brilliant. Should we do some more Mark?
Yeah, if you want. Yeah.
As in, should we move on to the next sort of big chunky topic?
Yeah.
What do you want to go for?
Oh, no, you had some questions on there, didn't you? One
I can do
specifically,
some from the
somebody was a bit concerned about commodities and super trade.
So clarifying. Sorry, I didn't get. My handwriting's terrible.
A while ago now.
Clarifying. When we say crafting commodity removal, this is nothing to do with traders. This is removing commodities for crafting recipes, for blueprints.
Very important.
A couple of questions from the stream recently. Yes, Marco Gwent's buffed outfitting shop will have powerplay modules as well.
This is for the beta.
Yep.
Yeah.
The beta is releasing tomorrow. Someone asked when the beta
Tomorrow.
is. Tomorrow. Probably in the afternoon.
Hopefully.
Tomorrow afternoon.
Evening.
I think it's been almost it's confirmed that it won't be the morning this one.
Yes.
Engineer upgrades for exploring. Sorry, I couldn't write down names in this one. That is probably the next batch of engineer upgrades coming.
Oh boy! Hello.
Certainly the.
So this is my account. I'm like, yeah, okay, now I'm interested.
There's a related family of upgrades, all dealing with sensors, the cargo manifest, kill warrant, and wake scanner, and stellar body discovery scanners, and detailed surface scanners.
What does that do? Sorry.
Initially,
this is just me now actually just being a fan and being like, tell me.
The obvious related ones are the distance they can scan at, the angle they can scan at, and how fast they scan.
Yeah.
They do all have their own extra modifiers that we need to work out more details, but that's
we
where
get
I'm
one
looking
where
next.
I can just like honk and just everything.
That's the advanced scanner.
Yeah, that already exists.
No, but I mean like the surfaces, so like going down to Earth. And
you're not going to get a discovery scanner that does a detailed scan.
No. greedy.
All right, I've got an idea.
Yeah.
I pay 50p and it scans everything in the area.
No.
This is a joke.
Lead designer Ed.
This is a joke. I'm not going to pay 50p for nothing.
I would like to call out.
Wow.
There have been a couple of comments about instancing issues. Networking is one of our problems in Elite. We are actually making some fairly big behind-the-scenes effort during this beta to look at some of it.
Yeah.
We are reaching out to a couple of player groups. I know the Fuel Rats have been really helpful reporting some changes.
Well done, Fuel Rats. You rock.
For many other reasons as well.
Thank you.
Fingers crossed,
No,
we are working on it.
Rats. The Fuel Rats, not the Rock Rats. He was doing a joke about the community. Sorry, they're two different separate.
And the many questions about ship kit ETAs. Sorry, us three are completely the wrong person to be able to answer that. I have no idea.
Should be
What
able
was
to
the
find
what was
out.
the question?
When are we getting ship kits for Pythons, paint jobs,
blah
blah blah?
That stuff is on it's on its way.
That comes very much through the art department.
It's the art
don't have
department
much
and then also the shop guys who run the storefront. You know,
Yes, that.
But I do know I can probably find that sort of stuff out. I should probably get that sort of get.
Yeah.
I don't know how public the schedule is, so I'll find out for you guys. For next week. Ask again.
More general balance issues. This is kind of hopping topic a little. The first one from True Silver. Will Frontier act against effective shield hit point inflation? Sorry, tripping words everywhere. Such as by introducing diminishing returns for heavy-duty boosters or other new specials, debuffs or similar. Yes, but we can't really confirm details.
Can I just jump in really quickly as you're talking about this? This is to do with there's going to be a lot of sort of almost general balances to the game, mainly combat related.
This one's combat focused. Yes.
This one is. When you say this one, what do you mean?
If we do future passes, they will more likely be looking at other areas.
Yeah.
For now, when we're looking in combat, it is the most adversarial part of the game, and where balance is sort of most finely tuned.
Yes.
Okay.
Or needs to be most finely tuned.
All these questions will be related to that. Is the point I'm making now. The thing you'll hear for the next sort of 10 minutes is going to be about that.
Yeah. So on the subject of really large shields and how we deal with those, there are definitely issues there. The trouble we're having is that several different player groups want completely different things from how strong their shields are, basically. If you look at the combat farming PvE players who are in combat zones, there's no problem with them having shields that take half an hour to go down. There's a problem with them coming back up again, but anyway. Group PvPers already have issues where ships burn down way too fast. If we give them tools to burn shields even faster, we make their problems worse. Solo PvPers have shields that last way too long. So what we're looking at is how we can make changes that benefit one group at a time without negatively affecting the other groups. My personal preferred solution at the moment is giving offensive tools to players that let you defeat high hit point shields, and defensive tools to wings to balance that out in group play. But we need to work out the details. We're certainly aware of the problem.
Yes. And there's always going to be a balance as well.
Yeah.
It's an equation that can't be 100% solved. It's about drawing in the extremes.
He says, what does PvP balance look like, and how do you know if it's worked or not? That's an interesting question.
It's not easy. The answer is often talking to the people who know PvP better than we do.
Yeah, absolutely. Feedback.
On a related subject from Shintai, in terms of the worries that shield resistance boosters and heavy duty and stacking them gives, have you thought about limiting the number of them to 4 per ship? We have thought about it. It causes issues with ships that have already got 8 and exactly how we handle that. In general, we prefer a diminishing returns mechanism to a hard cap. It seems cleaner.
Yeah.
We need to work out what the correct change is. We don't want to negatively affect players. We don't yet know what the right stick and carrot are to pair there to make the changes we want.
Yeah, we're keenly aware as well, but just to point out, this is a live game, and we know that any changes, even when we think they're in the best interest, we have to be very careful. We have to tread gently because, any time there's a change that might have a negative impact, that is, whether we like it or not, that's a meaningful impact. We have to be able to justify it to ourselves and to the players. So that's why sometimes things take a little bit longer, and we have to be a bit more careful.
Again from the forums, Edelweiss, sorry.
Yeah.
All weapons, even fixed, gimbal to one degree or another. How much do fixed weapons in CQC gimbal versus their comparable modules in the main game? Actually, not all fixed weapons do gimbal. There are some specific ones like fixed cannons that don't, but in general, it's defaults to half a degree, with some of them being a quarter of a degree. In CQC, it's 8 degrees, which is a much bigger thing.
Yeah.
Gimbals are currently at 30 degrees, going down to 22.5 in the limit. Most of the time you actually spend with them in the 8 to 10 degree region. Depending on how far away you're fighting, there's a lot more details of this on the forums that I've already posted.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to post up a blog post after this onto the community site, community.elitedangerous.com, and that's going to have a link in there to all of the blog forum posts that they're talking about that focus on these different areas. So if you do want lots more information about this, we're trying to give a summary and we're running out of time already, but you can head over to those forum posts and see a lot of these things already being answered, right? A lot of the stuff has already been discussed and being answered in there, so if you want to get involved in the discussion as well, you can do
And I
that.
think we're getting a special forum area.
Yeah, there's a
for
special
the
forum
beta.
that we're going up.
Yeah,
I believe after the stream, but it's staying read-only until we release.
Right.
I'm not sure of details.
Yeah. Again,
There are threads for power play, engineer, and combat balance. There are other changes going to this build that we won't be discussing until we've got the patch notes available.
Amazing.
But there are other things.
Okay, well, keep going. I think we've got another sort of 5-10 minutes left yet. If you've got some specific things you want to hit on as well.
Yeah, this is sort of already answered, but from Frenox. Have you considered building the module protection stat? For those not aware, we're adding module reinforcement packs that can protect your modules from damage, so as not to increase the number of internals needed for combat. Sandy's already touched on that. I don't think we want to go for hybrids. We like the choice of, you're making a clear choice between hull health and module health, but adding slots for combat ships to be able to take more of these, yes, I think so.
Wonderful. Go on, Mark.
That was me getting the wrong page.
You made good progress.
You have. You've done well.
Yeah.
Sandy, feel like you've just died. No, I'm joking. Okay, go on, Mark.
From Crimson Chem, do we have any plans for ship balance or even a new ship? I certainly can't comment about new ships, especially not the Dolphin. I couldn't say anything about that.
We haven't caught it yet. We don't know where it is.
It's disappeared.
We saw it once and that's it.
Everyone, well, on a minute.
Yeah.
But yes, we are looking at a balance between ships. There's especially things we're discussing between traders. We know the Federal Lance is the king of the combat ships.
Yeah.
We would like the Federal Assault Dropship Gunship trio to be more at its level.
Yeah.
There's a variety of other issues we are looking at.
Yeah.
Any plans, again from Crimson Came, any plans to stop hull tankers getting hard countered by missiles? For example, having 90% hull, but your drives and weapons are all broken. That's exactly what module reinforcement packs are for.
Yeah.
It does depend how many slots you're willing to sacrifice, but you can reinforce your drives to the point that your hull will break before your drive's pretty much guaranteed. It's up to you how you want to equip your ship.
It's a big change that having module protection, so we're looking forward to a lot of feedback on this one.
Yes, and it does need testing.
Yeah.
Purple Smoke says, well, I feel ignored, so ignored, sad face. Sorry, Purple Smoke.
Purple Smoke, we love you.
Ask your question again, I'll make sure it gets read, even if it's going to be a big resounding no from Sandro and Sammarco.
Continue from
Rescue
Crimson
the
Came.
Dolphin.
Railguns are pretty underpowered, but a must-have due to feedback cascade. Any balancing for railguns incoming? Yes, we just haven't worked out exactly
not
what
yet.
So we want to avoid making railguns too powerful until we know we've dealt with the AI being uncannily effective with them.
Which apparently we have made some changes.
There are some changes going into this build for that. Waiting to see how that works out before we make the second set of changes.
Yeah.
The first thing that we're pretty guaranteed to do at this point is increasing their ammo capacity. They currently have 30, we're looking at 80, 90, that sort of region. So roughly tripling their ammo capacity.
Yeah. Okay. Purple Smoke says, will there be exhaust colours? Please give me pink exhaust. Please answer my question. Will there be exhaust colours, please? Don't say anything.
Okay, I'm not saying anything.
Don't say anything.
There's your answer.
Yeah.
Nothing to announce today.
From
What? What am I saying?
I'm fairly sure I'm going to mispronounce your name.
Also,
but
can I just say, by the way, a couple of people have mentioned in chat, just saying, like, oh, they're not answering any questions, they're reading from a script. We're answering your questions directly from the forums because that was what we did originally set it up as like a Q&A, and if we don't answer the questions from the forum, you'll say, oh, you didn't answer any questions from the forum. So we're trying to find a balance of that within this little amount of time that we've got. So please be patient. Thank you.
From the forums, Thetley, sorry, I'm probably pronounced that wrong, about the time to kill of ships, as in how long it takes for a combat to end. Are we happy with the current time to kill? Is there a minimum time that victims should always survive? Yes, victims should always have a chance to respond, either being killed before you can react or fights dragging out to 20 minutes. They're both the extremes that we want to avoid.
Yeah.
Talking in terms of time to kill being too long or too short overall at the moment, I think is misleading. The problem we have is the time to kill range is far too large.
Yeah, we want to
we need to bring in the extremes and then work out if it needs to increase or decrease from there.
With the caveat, it's worth pointing out that if you're in an Eagle and an Anaconda triple shots you with a plasma accelerator, it's going to waste you, basically. Some of the ships, so when we talk about time to kill, we're also talking about time to kill between more or less equivalent ships. Anything else is just insanity. Yeah. We want to buff up, we want to, in general, make sure there's always time to try and respond, but we can't always, it would be wrong to say, well, you're in a Sidewinder and you can you can hang around whilst a Corvette's hammering on you. It's not going to happen.
On that note, there's always sort of 5 groups of players that I try to think of when we deal with combat players. They're the major groups. There are subgroups, but it's the sort of combat farmer PvE players in combat zones. The people who want a significant challenge from the AI that play almost like solo PvPers but aren't. There's a solo PvP, the group PvP, and what I usually call the massively asymmetric PvP, which is that kind of Anaconda attacking a Sidewinder. We can't really balance for that. The answer there is crime, punishment, karma. Please stop attacking Sidewinders with your Anacondas.
Yeah.
Please.
Or do it to AI if they don't mind so much.
Don't do it. So, yes, just to click William Bowling, as William Bowling clears up there. No date on 2.3, that's not what this is about today.
2.203.
Which
is
is
tomorrow. Or
three.
beta is tomorrow.
The beta is tomorrow, so yeah. Fortunately, we aren't talking about 2.3 just yet, but do keep an eye out on the streams and stuff like that, because eventually I'm sure we will. But that's way further down the line, so forget I even said that. Also forget that I said way. Just imagine I didn't say anything. Jeez.
Things, words, stuff.
Just forget. I don't imagine. I mean, I may as well just not be here at this point.
From Lazarus KI on Reddit, more about cosmetics, which is kind of relevant rather than engineering. Is there a chance that missiles will get cosmetics similar to lasers and weapons, flames, explosions?
Just you didn't even notice that I'd gone.
No, because I'm blind.
Yeah.
We've certainly discussed doing things like colouring the smoke trails of missiles. Recolouring the explosions might be on a VFX art time, so I'm not going to promise that without talking to
I wouldn't
them
want
first.
to speak for them.
Not ruling it out, certainly, we would like to.
Ducalo says, will the 10% resale tax on modules finally come back now we have module storage? Well, that's an interesting one. Personally, I'd like to see it come back at 50%. I don't know is the real answer. Again, it's a live game. We respect our players. I would like to see that come in, but it's basically low priority. Very low priority.
Okay.
I've got zillions more. I don't know if you've got lots more.
I've got some more. Some of them are quite verbose. But
let me just pick a few. Let's see if we can get any through here. Any plans to cross-play or have bots in CQC?
3 more questions from you, and then we'll finish off your
bots is something that we all agree would be very cool. It's definitely non-trivial to do, so unfortunately we've got nothing planned at the moment, but it's just definitely a nice idea. Will there be a keybind to the reboot repair added after the added function? So just so it's clear, so the idea is that the reboot repair emergency feature that ships have, we're going to do it so that you'll get was it 50% shields when you come back up?
If you're not moving, yes.
If you're going less than a certain speed.
That's cool.
So
I need that a lot.
My answer to that is that there won't be a keybind for it because it's not meant to be a time critical function. If it was meant to be a time critical function, that means people will be using it in combat. It's not intended to be used in combat, hence it's got a speed limit, which is there specifically so to use it in combat will be incredibly dangerous. It's one of those things where it's fit for purpose, it's good, it does the job, we can do it, so that's why it doesn't. It's not going to have key binding, and it has got a speed limit.
Okay, good answer. Maybe disappointing to some, but good answer.
I find I disappoint often.
Well, sure. That's like Sandro and Sammarco, sorry.
Often and massively is my motto.
Yeah. Often, Sandro, often and massively Sammarco.
Someone said if I asked if I'd lost weight, do I look thinner on the stream?
You've just been ill, Sandy, it's fine.
Yeah, I think you're just sitting further back.
I'm just chubby.
You're just sitting further back.
Yeah,
leaning forwards.
I've not lost weight.
Anyway, couple more questions. Go.
Yeah.
We can stick around for another sort of 10 minutes. It's okay.
You got any more?
From Alec Turner on the forums on the subject of fixed versus gimbaled weapons. You're curious about what control method we use to test things, especially regarding the T-Flight HOTAS, which is terrific joystick for the money, you say, but does have some dead zone issues. Are we balancing towards pay to win with people who have really good joysticks? There's not a single simple answer to that. On the one hand, if you've got a more precise control scheme, you do have an advantage, whatever we do.
Yeah.
It's worth calling out that one of the metrics we use to balance is if we take a reasonably average pilot using a good joystick with a fixed weapon against a similarly skilled pilot with a control pad and gimbaled weapons, those should be roughly comparable.
They should be within a tolerance of each other. That's the plan anyway.
I mean, it will always be the case that really, really good fixed weapon pilots are probably going to end up having a higher skill ceiling. They're going to be the exceptions, the really amazing pilots you bump into. Which is not me. I'm not amazing.
Quick question for Philomae is, have you nerfed mode switching, i.e. to stack missions? And then somebody else says, so Faisal says, no, to nerfing.
No, I thought we already had.
I know some changes have gone in. I'm not certain exactly what's in 2.2 versus what's in 2.3.
Yeah.
2.203.
No.
2.3.
Wait.
As in later.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, there's stuff that the mission guys are currently working on.
Right.
I'm not sure how much of it is...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Too many things
We
going on
are
at
going to
once.
be having
I have a bad case of worms.
seriously, we are going to be having a Q&A session just like this next week again with, I think it's next week, I've got to double check with who it is, but we're going to be covering different topics, and I think next week's going to be,
Don't
off
say
the top of my
missions.
head, is it not missions?
Well, you're going to steal my thunder. I was about to.
It's going to be missions, it's going to be missions!
Amadeus 1171 says, are we going to get QA live stream to discuss other topics,
Yes.
such as the API, mission quality, and
Yes.
use of our missions?
Yes.
Well,
yes
there you
to
are.
all of the above.
My answer was, I think actually, I'm sure Ed will know.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, no, yeah. And he does.
I do, and a yes.
There it is.
I'm going to be doing more of these. I'm sure Ed will know.
Yeah. Because
No,
I don't.
I don't know. I've got no idea. No, we're going to be doing these regularly because, we want to keep talking to you. I think it's a nice idea.
Max Payne says, Pac-Al missiles are so awesome, they look so awesome, but I don't want to join any power play. Then you don't get to have them, sorry. I don't know what to say really, it is harsh, but unfortunately fair.
Right.
Any others?
One more.
I've got some more.
I know
There's
you've got
some more.
loads more, but
Methane and a couple of other people saying the wave scanner is broken, its rendering is not working correctly. I think we're looking at that. I believe it's to do with it being overloaded by certain planetary features. We're not sure what the solution is at the moment, as far as I'm aware.
That's what
I'm sure everything's soluble in the end if you add enough water.
Yeah, it's not a bug. I know anything specific about it. It's. There are many people working on Elite. I only know part of it.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully we can get somebody on here that does now.
Yeah, we can certainly find out.
Yeah.
And
I'll write that down as a thing to cover for next time.
what else was there? There was more. There's more. Wait, there's more.
There's actually
both
from the forums and from Shannon Rinaldet. Sorry, names. Has the effect on sensor mass being calculated to the effectiveness for gimbals, for example, negative effect on jump range. You don't have to upgrade your sensors. If you want to get back to where we almost are now, yes, you'll need the upgrade. We don't think you need we don't think you need to change your sensors to be combat effective. The reduction in angle is targeting some really quite specific edge cases in PvP or when you're at extreme angles to each other. In normal combat situations, the damage reduction is very, very small.
To put it another way, don't theorycraft that one. Just play it and see.
Okay.
Because we're reasonably confident that it's not going to be the all-encompassing catastrophe that some people are suggesting. It's definitely a reduction, but it's not a huge. As Mark says, it's more corner case catching. Than all the time.
This is a very subjective thing. It depends how you fly, what sort of things you're aiming at, what kind of pilot you are. In my own testing, I've tried timing how long it takes me to kill an equivalent number of ships. I can't measure the difference between the two. This is affecting some fairly specific circumstances.
Yeah.
Okay.
Teresa asked a bunch of things. Only one I've got time to go through here, which is saying that. So we've made some changes to power play ships so that when they're not going to attack you if you're not actually doing stuff to do with power play, which is in the event really comes down to carrying vouchers or cargo. Does that protection cover human power pledge players? No, it doesn't. So our reason behind that is human players. We shouldn't be telling human players what they can and cannot do. In general, and secondly, there aren't millions of human players that you're going to run into all the time. You are going to run into AI NPC power play ships all the time, so it really, and we can control them. And NPC ships are there. They're there to look like they're real and doing stuff, but really they're there to make the game entertaining for you. So if they're randomly, constantly attacking you when you're not interested in power play, we think that's not as fun. So that's why they're not going to do it. But human players, at the moment, keep your wits up still because they still will be able to attack with impunity in their home systems. It's one of the benefits.
Well, there you go.
And then Manuel Amesa says, crime! Punishment? Sorry, you have to watch the stream. Earlier we did talk about crime punishment. There are lots of cool options. I don't know when and if we're going to get to do all of them.
Okay.
Save the dolphin. I like that one.
Yep, save the dolphin.
We need to find the dolphin. If you've seen the dolphin, then get in touch with Ed. Okay? This is a general appeal.
Lewis at Frontier Dodo. So, do you... Right, okay, I know that there's a lot more...
No shaving dolphins. That's a different thing.
I know that you have a lot more questions here to touch on. Do you feel like we've touched on almost everything to do with the beta tomorrow, really?
Yes.
Is the thing I want to... Is the one thing I want to make sure that we've hit everything on. And remember, guys, if you have just turned up, we do have a new beta going live tomorrow. First point beta that we've ever done, which is 2.203, to continue, because we loved the feedback basically that we got from doing the one at 2.2, and it was successful. I think people liked it.
I just want to jump in there.
Yeah, go for it.
William Bolin, I think. Sorry. Are we considering making exploration more lucrative? Hopefully, at some point, we will get round to that. Not at the moment, because there are things that are a little bit more important. But we're aware that's been basically since Dart. People have been saying, can we make a bit more money through exploration? We never said we were going to make all of the different roles have complete parity in terms of the ability to earn money. Mm-hmm. But I could certainly see exploration getting a little bit more profitable without any trouble whatsoever. It's just time and unfortunately, we are a finite resource. I'm feeling very finite at the moment.
I feel like that's why we need to wrap things up.
It is something that we hopefully at some point will look into.
Yeah. So there you go. Are you feeling satisfied with what you've said?
I always feel satisfied after.
I'm not satisfied that everyone understood what I was saying, because we have been rattling through this pretty fast.
I mean, hopefully somebody is taking notes.
Get in the beta and have some fun. Hopefully we'll get some threads up specifically so you can give direct feedback on certain areas without getting all the threads polluted by each other. So
can we just do a quick survey, please? Everybody in the chat, if you've got access to the beta, or if you don't already have that beta access, say I don't have access to the beta in the chat. I want to know what the split is here, like in the chat with people watching as well. And I will be doing a giveaway. I'm picking 2 people at random for saying that I do not, whoever says I want to give it to people who don't have it. So I do not have access to the beta. Whoever says that, I'm going to pick somebody at random who says that. So
here it comes.
Either I do have access to the beta or I do not have access to the beta. And here we go. I do have access to the beta. But the thing is, people are going to be like, I want that so I can give it away. So let's be honest.
I'd say we know, but...
Yeah, in fact, I'm going to pick somebody at random who says either anyway, so don't skew the results by saying that. That's what I genuinely want to know.
Ghosts! Oh, malevolent spirits. Well, they're here.
Yeah.
Thank God I'm not playing, they'd have ruined
also,
it.
You can throw some ghosts
whenever
in
I play
there
a live
as well
stream,
if you want
the ghosts make me play really rubbishly.
Yeah, that must be it.
It's totally what it is.
Okay, so I'm going to give away a couple of copies of the access to the beta as well. All you have to do is make sure you email community@frontier.co.uk with your name, and I'll cover that in a second. Before we move on, there's going to be a blog post going live on the community site with repeating some of the details about tomorrow, also pointing people towards the forum posts that cover a lot of the details that we've talked about tonight.
Red alien head.
What?
There was a red alien head. I've never seen that one before. Look, what's that? It's like a red Cthulhu.
It's like a Space Invader or something.
Alright, let's pick at random. Okay, Nerdy Pants.
Nerdy Pants. No, Nardy Pants.
Oh, sorry.
Get it right.
Nardy
Pants.
Pants. You have won yourself a copy of the beta access. So send me an email, community@frontier.co.uk. Also send a PM from your account to this YouTube account, so I can verify it with what email address you'll be sending it from. But community@frontier.co.uk with beta prize winner. In the subject title, I'll know. Don't worry.
You haven't been doing this as much.
I haven't. I've been.
You've not been dropping the axe.
Can do some moves like that instead. And finally, another one. I have season pass.
But I'll
pick this one. I do not have access to the beta. Mohammed Azim Noor Fazilan.
Well done. Congratulations,
Mohammed.
Well done to Sam Preble for having the red Cthulhu head.
What is that?
I don't know. Is it an ant or is it just an octopus thing? Purple Smoke had the ghost as well. That's impressive.
Fantastic.
Impressive.
So, and if you have just stumbled along here by accident, and you
the orange one's amazing.
There's some more of them.
There's an orange. Look, what's that? It's like an octopus with only 2 long legs.
I don't know.
Yeah. That's I had to round everything then, but that was pretty shocking.
Ed was saying something. I'm not entirely sure what it was.
Anyway, Sandy's getting excited about the little emotes, so if you want to throw down some fun emotes in the chat as well, I'm sure that Sandy will
down. I've never seen any of these.
Distractor Sandy Day.
So, Sandy,
yeah.
Well, first of all, congratulations to you guys who won that. I'm going to put the blog post live very shortly, so look out for that with more details in the forum post. Hopefully someone on Reddit has summarised some of the things that they're talking about tonight, or in the forums, hopefully that will be chatted about. I'm sure you guys will be knocking about in the forums. Beta forums will go live soon as well. Anything else we need to say? I think it's an exciting time.
Always listen to your bicameral mind.
Or listen to your bicameral mind.
Always.
Why?
Because it's really important.
Okay.
Okay.
And lastly, I don't think Sandy realises this. Well, first of all, thank you very much, Mark.
Yeah, thanks, Mark.
You've covered a lot of stuff there. It was really, really impressive.
We both had a long list.
More Q&A live streams next week on different subjects, maybe about missions with Dom Corner, perhaps. Not sure yet. Sandy, thank you very much.
Thank
I'm
you.
not going to shake your hand
always a
because
pleasure.
I've already got diseases from you.
We're both allergic.
But one thing you don't realise, Sandy, is that the person who sits in the middle of... And thank you, everybody, by the way. Thank you for your questions. Sorry we couldn't get to
Thank you for all the awesome emote things.
The person who sits in the middle has to end the live stream, has to close the live stream.
How do you want to close the live stream? Do I press the button?
No, I'll press the buttons, but you have to do the sign-off.
What's the sign-off again?
I'm not telling you what the sign-off is.
Tell me what the sign-off is. I don't know. I meant to say something.
There's no specific thing.
Right.
Guys, I think the stream's
because you sit in the
over.
middle.
I just want to thank everyone, and I actually just want to say again, I want to reiterate, thank you for all the feedback, thank you for all the support. It's been pretty amazing, and especially thank you for all those cool little pictures in the chat. They're just the best.
He's loving it.
I've literally, I'm sure I've tried to look at the emote things, and I've never seen half of them. So I don't know how you're doing it.
You're a champion there.
Yeah, exactly. And streaming.
Is that a man with a...
I don't even know what that one is.
That's a man with a... I think he's playing table tennis.
Or it's a gecko.
Yeah,
it's not
maybe.
a gecko. It's definitely a man.
Kisses from the Netherlands. Look, there's like hot lips in there. Thank you, Purple Smoke.
Yeah, little
Ticks. So sorry. I'm sorry we couldn't get through all of the questions. We tried to get as big a lump as possible. But until next time.
Until next time.
That's it.